Malcolm, you good?
Yep. Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
Um, I was just waiting to it. It took a while to come up on my end that
Oh,
telling me that I was live. But anyway, we're live. And we're here with another episode of Rankum. And it's going to be a fun one. And very interesting to see how things play out because my two panelists play more Nintendo than I do, and I play more PlayStation than they do. So it's going to be interesting to see if we agree on anything or if it's going to end up being a mostly Nintendo list. But before we get into that, one thing I've started to do is recap what the top five on the fan vote polls that I put up after the episodes here. And last week we had top 10 DC movies, and the fan poll is very interesting. At number five is Wonder Woman. At number four, despite a lot of people complaining about it being on the list, Man of Steel ended up at number four. At number three is Shazam. At number two is Batman Begins, and number one is The Dark Knight. So the number one was what I kind of expected, but anyway, I'm going to introduce my panelist. First up, we've got Jukebox Trivia host Brooklyn. Brooklyn, how's it going?
It's going great. It's been like a hot minute since I've been on anything at all. It's been really busy with work, and I have my brother is actually home. He's visiting from China for the last few weeks, so a lot of time spending with him. But this is great. Video game series. I've been hammering home for a video game edition of Rankum, and now it's finally here. So I'm super excited to talk some video games.
And also here is a very special guest. I don't know how I managed to get him, but you may recognise him from the Schmodown Rundown. It's our very own Chris Clark. Chris, how's it going?
you're making me blush, my dude. Thank you so much for having me on, Malcolm. It's been a hot minute since I've been on the channel. I think it's been almost a year. Almost a year, probably like 6 months, 7 months, something like that. I too have been very, very busy with both work and some of the Schmodown eccentricities that I've been doing. But let's rock this sucker, and it's making me wish that Family Game Night was back, and it will be back eventually. I want it to be back eventually. That was a fun time. That was a really fun time. Let's rock this, Malcolm.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to throw it over to Chris first. Chris, what is the first franchise you're going to bring up?
Well, I'm going to actually bring this one up because actually we did this on Family Game Night for a long time. We actually played through both of the games in this franchise, and I consider this franchise one of me and my dad's favorites. It only consists though of 3 games plus 2 spin-offs, but hopefully it gets revived at some point. It's the Banjo-Kazooie franchise. Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Banjo Nuts and Bolts, Banjo Pilot, and Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge on the Game Boy Advance. These are collectathons in the same vein as Super Mario 64. Rare kind of actually improved upon Super Mario 64's capabilities and made 3 games with phenomenal soundtracks. The music for Banjo-Kazooie is super catchy. The score by Grant Kirkhope is phenomenal. And Banjo-Kazooie just as a play style just gives me a lot of nostalgia. I know that it has very few games in this franchise compared to other ones that we're going to list off, but Banjo-Kazooie is on the table. It's one of my all-time favorites.
So Banjo-Kazooie is on the table. Brooklyn, what do you say about Banjo?
I adore Banjo and Kazooie. I think the first game is one of the greatest games ever made. But I have to say no, I can't. Nuts and Bolts is one of the worst games ever made. Banjo-Tooie is great, and I haven't played any of the spinoffs. So I very sadly say no, although I think the first game was great.
The second game is basically the first game, but like the Lord of the Rings version of the first game. It's phenomenal, but it takes a long time to complete. And then the third game kind of it's why I wanted to get this out of the way because I love Banjo-Kazooie, but that third game literally puts a wrench into the entire thing. Yeah.
It's down to me, and I'm sorry, Chris. I know how much this means to you, but I'm not a big fan of Banjo. I mean,
okay.
I think I started to play the first game and just like it just got so repetitive. It's the same. I mean, it's the same reason why if Crash or Spyro gets brought up, I may have to end up saying the same thing about them too, because
Same exact kind of games. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. But anyway,
So is Mario. Yep.
I mean, you're in luck. I've actually never played Mario, so Brooklyn might agree.
Wait, Brooklyn, did you just hear what he just said?
Yeah, I did.
But
All right.
anyway, Brooklyn, what is the next game you're going to come up?
Well, the one that I'm really surprised Chris didn't begin the show with is one made by Masahiro Sakurai by HAL Laboratories. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 6, but there's on 2 different platforms. That is, of course, Super Smash Brothers.
Of course.
All games all games have been phenomenal. You can argue that Brawl was controversial because of the broken characters and the trick mechanic that they added to it, but one of the greatest fighters of all time. You think of like all Nintendo's All Stars, and then they've been adding in third-party characters with Ryu, with Sonic, with Snake. Just an incredible franchise, and it needs to be on this list.
Chris, what do you say about Super Smash Brothers?
Objectively, Super Smash Brothers is a game that you can play with anybody, anywhere, anytime. Regardless the skill set, it's very, very easy to pick up and play. And it also is, along with another franchise I'm going to bring up, one of the best multiplayer experiences you can have with a game. Like Super Smash Bros., yeah, you have the entire roster. I actually think the first one on the N64 is the lesser of the games, not because it's bad, but because the mechanics have just so improved upon each and every installment. Yeah, you can bash Brawl for being too slow, but Brawl had the best, objectively best single-player experience. Melee, yes, it had a lot. It was quick-paced, but it was glitchy, but it still had its magic with the hardcore nostalgia fanboys. And of course, there's perfection with the 3DS, Wii U, and the Switch versions. Like they're masterpieces in and among themselves. So when you think of technical perfection, how much effort goes into these games and how much it feels like a blockbuster movie every time one of them comes out with the amount of hype there is, this needs to be on the list. It's a yes.
And with that, Super Smash Brothers makes the list. This is another one I've actually never played, just because it's more because I've never had the console it's been on.
Fair enough. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because I have been tossing about buying a Switch just to play Ultimate, but haven't got around to it. But it does look like a game I will play, because I do like those sort of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat type games. So. But anyway, it's back to me. And I'm going to bring up one that's near and dear to my heart, and it's near and dear to my Kingdom Hearts. But
wow.
This is pretty much Final Fantasy meets Disney. This is probably one of the biggest crossovers that like any company has made before. But you got like just about every Disney character from all over the universe coming in, and I don't know whether this will land on the list, if we'll make it on, because I know the first 2 games were only PlayStation, but the recent one they've started doing them on both platforms, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But this is one game I love to play. The third game was not what I was expecting, but it was still enjoyable. But the whole game series, like with the story from Sora going all the way over to the end of the third one was perfect and just really great. Brooklyn, what do you say about Kingdom Hearts?
Malcolm, I'm really sorry. I have to say no. When you think about the 2 properties that this is associated with, Disney and the other franchise, that other franchise probably needs to get out here before that one. And I have like a dozen other franchises before Kingdom Hearts, so unfortunately I'm going to say no.
Chris, it's down to you. What do you say about Kingdom Hearts?
I've actually never played Kingdom Hearts. Look, the Kingdom Hearts I've heard is fantastic. It brings a lot of lore from the Disney franchise and a lot of great character interaction with each and every person. But as Brooklyn said, the other franchise, Final Fantasy, probably needs to get on here before that. And there are only 12 slots, and all of my slots are Nintendo. And I feel like Kingdom Hearts, although I can't give it a fair shake because I've never played it. I think it might be a phenomenal series, but if it's not on my list, and I have to be honest, it's not on my list, so I'm gonna have to give it a no.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, if you've never played it, you can't really
Yeah.
judge the game. So, but anyway, it's back to you, Chris. What is the next game you're going to bring up?
Well, okay, so there's a lot here, and it might be really stupid, but I'm going to bring up another multiplayer franchise that's just as universally upheld as Super Smash Bros. At a party setting, and it's great for the whole purpose of a video game is to connect with your friends in person and play and maybe throw a blue shell or two. I'm talking about Mario Kart. You have Mario Kart 64, Super Mario Kart. You have Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart 7, 8, Super Circuit. Mario Kart is one of the most fun you can have at a party with your friends, and the franchise itself since 1987 has brought friendships to a halt. It has been phenomenal in that sense, and it's been a meme. It's one of the best experiences you can have with anybody, anywhere, at any time. It doesn't really constitute, I know the argument might be brought up, it doesn't constitute as the Mario series because this is an actual brand. Mario Kart is a brand. Not Super Mario Galaxy, not Super Mario Sunshine, not Super Mario 3D World, not the Super Mario Brothers. This is the Mario Kart franchise. And I feel like Mario Kart deserves a spot on this list.
Okay, I mean, I lied when I said I'd never played a Mario game. I have played Mario Kart before.
Thank God. Thank God.
This is tough because I really don't like racing car games much. But I remember when I was playing this is one that I will say yes to just because it is fun and the blue shell of doom or whatever it is always fun to throw at people. But yeah, Mario Kart's making this list. Brooklyn, what would you have said?
Yeah, Malcolm, if you would have said no, I would have given you a third look and said what's wrong. Yeah, this gets a fuck yeah. Mario Kart Double Dash is the best one of the franchise. Come at me at the real BK10 on Twitter. But yeah, it's one of the most incredible franchises ever. You could argue that Super Circuit is like a dud, which only because of
the controls. The controls are weird.
Yeah, but like the DS version is good. 7 is good. 8's good. I like the DLC packs that they've added on there. They're quite nice. And what this game has done in the speedrun community. If anybody watches AGDQ or SGDQ, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do 200 TC L Cups Mario Kart 8. They're like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this cut here, and we're gonna hit this frame. And when we hit this frame, we're gonna use that mushroom, and it's gonna cut like half of the race down. It's amazing to watch. But yeah. It's a definite yes.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, what is the next game you're going to bring up?
Okay, so I'm gonna go off of the Nintendo track for a little bit. I'm gonna verve off a little bit. This is the only Microsoft franchise that I have in my arsenal, and this definitely needs to be on here. We're talking Halo. Halo is one of the greatest first-person shooters ever. Call of Duty's good, but it just gets super repetitive. Halo's campaign is incredible. Halo 3's multiplayer was a pioneer in the online series, and it's one of the best ones to go back to. Also, the incredible score from the final level of Halo 3 to the opening theme with the very choral arrangement. Halo 1 was also great. They got the remastered edition. Halo 2 has been good. They spun off a little bit with Halo Wars, an RTS strategy game. ODST was good. 4 was incredible. 5 was even better. And then I think 6 is coming out next year or maybe later this year. But we got to get some shooters on here, and I think Halo is the prime example.
Chris, what do you say about Halo?
Look, Halo, it's not on my list, and it's not because I'm not saying no because it's a bad game or anything. I'm not the biggest fan of first-person shooters. Same thing with Call of Duty. If anybody brings that up, it's going to be an automatic no too. I feel like it's just not my style of game. I like platformers. I like cartoony. I like stuff that I can just escape from. And Halo, even though it is a fantasy setting, it does give off the Call of Duty kind of war vibe, and it kind of feels like you're in the middle of a galactic war. And I get that it's fantasy, but I don't like guns in my games. I don't really dig that. The only one I really dig is GoldenEye, but that's not really a franchise, kind of. But I have to give it a pass. Sorry, Brooklyn.
Sorry.
Yeah, just like Chris, I'm not a big fan of first-person shooters myself.
Doesn't mean it's a bad game, though.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. I mean, I've also never owned Xbox. I've never played Halo, so I've never once played it either. But like, it's never been one that I've wanted to play by watching gameplay either. So yeah, but with that, Halo doesn't make the list, sadly. But yeah. But I do like the Beyonce song "Halo." That's a pretty good song. But we digress. Next franchise I'm going to bring up is this was tough with this one whether I count each separate series within this franchise or if I count it as just one, but I'm going to count it as just one, and that's the Lego franchise, and that encompasses all the Lego games like Lego Harry Potter's, Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, because it's all basically the same gameplay with.
That's the difference. Yeah, Mario Kart has a different gameplay than Super Mario 64. That's an entire brand. That's basically the Disney of games. Yeah, that's fair.
But the Lego games have always been fun to play, whether you're playing as a Lego version of Luke Skywalker using a carrot as a lightsaber, whether it's watching the people die in crazy situations. And a lot of people go that it kind of fell apart when they started introducing voice. I disagree. Like, depending on the situation, I do think the voice acting brought a little bit extra to the role, especially when it comes to the original storylines like the Lego Marvel superheroes games, the Lego DC supervillains. Like, those ones work well when you've got the voice cast in it, as opposed to the just recreations of various scenes from the movies. But the Lego franchise is on the table. Brooklyn, what do you say about Lego?
I am quite fond of the Lego franchise. I started off playing Lego Star Wars. I never got into Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, or like the other offshoot ones. But Lego Batman 2 and 3 are ones I played all the time. Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Avengers are ones that I play constantly. It's not like my super duper favorite, but I'm looking at my list here. I could make room for it. I am in that bandwagon of that the non-dialogue or the non-dialogue movies cutscenes are a little bit better. I find that humor is more like Lego. Because when you add that in dialogue, it's like, oh, it's just almost like just another animated sort of cutscene. But I felt like the non-dialogue gave Lego its own uniqueness and its own fresh take to the scene. So yeah, I would say yes to Lego.
And Chris, what would you have said about Lego?
Look, I mean, I was gonna say yes too. I find these games very, very fun. The Star Wars trilogy and the prequel trilogy are some of the best slapstick in the Lego franchise, and I also love the Batman games. All of them. Those are the only two I've ever played, but I really dig this franchise. And again, it's basically a glorified platformer, a puzzle game meshed into the two, which my next nomination is going to be kind of like that as well. So, I mean, I love the puzzle platformers, and this is an exceptional example. Yes, to Lego.
But anyway, with that, Chris, what is your next nomination?
Well, I said I was gonna let me do a cool transition into another puzzle platformer. Um, it's a branch off of the Super Mario franchise. It's actually my favorite franchise ever. It is the Wario Land WarioWare franchise, where it's either the Wario games are very, very interesting. They're not Mario games per se. They have the kind of skeleton of a Mario game, but Wario cannot die. He's greedy. It's all about money and selfishness and how much money and treasure you can collect. And you're basically the bad guy for the entire franchise. And for most of the platformer aspects of it, there is a lot of mind kind of puzzle games throughout the different chambers of treasure that you have to collect. And on the other side of that franchise is the WarioWare franchise, which is basically Mario Party on steroids, which is essentially micro mini games that are like 10 seconds that you have to complete in a certain amount of time, and there are different stages to that platform that you have to ascertain and you have to collect, and it's great. It's very divergent gameplay, which I really, really love how Nintendo kind of integrates that into their kind of imagination. And the visual styles of all the Wario games are very, very eclectic and very, very different from the sort of formulaic Mario games and titles that you see. Because as great as Mario is, it's a formula. Wario takes that formula and throws it in the garbage. So the Wario franchise is on the table. And I don't know how many people have actually played it. I know it's not as popular as the others. So either way, I just wanted to get it out there.
Brooklyn, what do you say about the Wario franchise?
Wario World is one of the most underrated
Yes.
GameCube games ever. I've played a little bit of like the GBA Wario Land ones, and WarioWare. I've played a little bit more than the Wario Land, and they've been great. Unfortunately, though, there are 10 better. There are like 13 better franchises than Wario, in my opinion. So I'm just going to say
Fine. Wario World is phenomenal, by the way. It's
Wario World is
yeah.
incredible. Why there hasn't been a sequel to that? It's been mind blowing.
I know it's because of sales. Again, it's not the most popular franchise, so yeah, it sucks. Because if it had sequels, it probably would be up here. Go for it, Malcolm. Sorry.
Yeah. All I was going to say is I've never played Wario, so
I just want to nominate it. It's a phenomenal franchise.
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't.
well, I mean that's fine. Once again, if we get something Nintendo, whether it's an emulator or that, I probably will get it. But anyway, Brooklyn, what's your next nomination?
All right, let's go back to Nintendo. This is considered one of the greatest franchises ever, with the exception of 2 and Skyward Sword. You could make an argument for every other game to be like the best game in the series. I'm of course talking Legend of Zelda, one of the greatest adventure games throughout Nintendo. You mean Ocarina of Time? You consider it easily the best game on the N64. Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess. What's the Breath of the Wild has been a great game for the Switch. A lot of replayability. The Wind Waker was a cult hit for the GameCube. Just a series that hasn't really gone wrong, with the exception of the CDI games, which are dog shit.
Yeah, once again, if I ever get a Switch, Breath of the Wild is one that has always interested me. From what it's looked like, I've never played any of the other games, but same reason as pretty much most of my figure when it comes to most Nintendos, except maybe one which I'm surprised hasn't been brought up yet. But Chris, what do you say about Legends of Zelda?
Look, Legends of Zelda is essentially. I'm surprised you've not played it. Being a Lord of the Rings fan as you are, Malcolm, it has a very kind of Tolkien kind of vibe to the entire franchise, and I love it for that. The CDI games are terrible, but they make great YouTube poop, and I think it's fun for that reason alone. But my favorite game of the franchise is actually Wind Waker. I love Wind Waker.
Yeah.
The art style of Wind Waker is phenomenal. The cell shading, I don't care if it looks like anime. It's one of the best platformers ever. I would say Majora's Mask is. I feel like a couple of like the games in the franchise are a bit complicated and convoluted. Like it's different kind of button inputs for The music stuff has never really been my cup of tea. I like things to be short, simple, and to the point when it comes to kind of game mechanics. And Legend of Zelda doesn't do that, but the game design is there. The franchise is there. The eclecticness is there. And the design is there. And for it to not be on this list would be a travesty and an insult. So, yes, that's all it is on this list.
And with that, Zelda does make the list.
Mhm.
So I'm at a point where I don't know if I should bring up one that I want to get on, or if I should bring up the one which I'm surprised hasn't been brought up yet. I'm going to go for the one I'm surprised hasn't been brought up yet, because Kristen Smith will probably murder us if we don't get Pokemon on this list.
I was going to do that next. Yes.
But yeah, Pokemon deserves to be on this list. It's had a massive history. It's been about 20 movies. It's been how many even TV shows? It's been I lost track of how many games it's done now at this point.
Well, it's eight generations, 2 games apiece. It's been about 18 games.
Yeah, with
Eight,
I believe Shield and Sword that's coming out this year.
Yep.
But yeah,
and Pokemon Go.
Yeah, Pokemon Go's just never ending. But Chris, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. But what do you say about Pokemon?
Hell no, I don't like Pokemon at all. No. Pokemon is one of my absolute favorite franchises, and it's great to play. Like we did for a couple months, me and Kristen went through Pokemon, like a randomized hack where you could find random Pokemon and stuff. It's Pokemon has a great community on YouTube, has a great content base, but also the actual games themselves are phenomenal RPGs, best RPGs you can probably ever play. Just because of how it makes you, it kind of individualizes you and your taste. You can make a team of 6 of your favorite Pokemon, and that's you. That's your personality. If it was me and Kristen, we'd probably have 6 Wailords. 6 Wailords on our team because we love Wailord. But Pokemon is just phenomenal as kind of a not many franchises let you put yourself into the shoes and give you that kind of personality that Pokemon can let you customize in a world too. So Pokemon 110%.
Brooklyn, what would you have said about Pokemon?
Yes, 110% yes. What I love about this franchise, and a lot of the ones that we've already put on the board, is that there are 3 different styles of gameplay that you go with Pokemon. There is your casual play where you can just play through the game nonchalant, do your side quests and stuff. There is the super competitive play where there's different there's EVs.
IVs and EVs.
IVs, and you go for the correct stat numbers. And then there's once again the speedrunning community where it's just there's the glitchless runs, there's the glitch gym runs, there's the reverse gym order runs, there's the 151. If there's a video that everybody on this channel needs to watch, is the 151 Pokemon Blue speedrun by Shenanigans. And it's literally just menu manipulation and item dropping. So it's if I drop 87 rare candies, I'm gonna spawn to where Mew's located. And I already had done my Master Balls because I already got them from the top because I have infinite amount of coins throughout the entire thing. So yeah, Pokemon gets it.
And the Nuzlocke too, where you have to go through the entire game without blacking out, which is phenomenal. And there are different kind of versions of that where you and a friend can also play via Skype, and it's called a Soul Link, that you both have to kind of catch each Pokemon on each route, and if that Pokemon faints, the Pokemon in your party faints as well. So that's cool as well. So I mean, Pokemon has such a great kind of interior thing. It's great.
Yeah, there's about 1,500 different Pokemon at this point, isn't there?
Probably about 800 or 700, something like that.
Yeah,
it's 800.
That's a big number. I don't that much.
Yeah, it's almost 1,000. Yeah.
But Chris, what is the next game you're going to bring up?
Let's kick this in the ass. I'm gonna say, me and Brooklyn have. It's at least one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's one of Brooklyn's. I think it is because we did it on Family Game Night for a couple weeks till we kind of dropped it because of availability. But it's Donkey Kong. You have Donkey Kong 64, and you have the Donkey Kong Country games. Yeah, Yeah, it's a smaller franchise as Banjo-Kazooie is, but this one is basically Banjo-Kazooie, but with much more success, with the same style and creators, with the same kind of concepts for the music. Each level is memorable in the music taste, and the villains are also memorable. Also batched into the Donkey Kong franchise is Diddy Kong Racing, which is, I think, one of the best racing games ever made. But Donkey Kong just as a platformer, just as something that was really different for its time and continues to grow. Well, the current games are not really the most popular, but I mean it's still quality platforming. It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar seller to recognize that this franchise is something special. And from Donkey Kong Country 1 to DK64 to the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze series, it's really it's quality gameplay. It might not be the most successful financially, but it's quality gameplay, and I love Donkey Kong for that. It had a hiatus too for like 5 years.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Donkey Kong 64?
Yes. This was on my list. Donkey like the OG Donkey Kong countries are some of the best graphically aged games of the SNES, and you can think about a lot of games from that platform. So, a game series like the country ones in particular, a very simple one in premise where like a lot of the enemies are one hit, but those collectibles are fucking hard to get. Like it's just like, oh, you have to triple jump off this platform here, and then if you go along this rail, then we'll get like the end in Kong. So a very deceptively difficult series. So yes for me.
Yeah, and 64 as well. It's basically a collectathon series like Mario, but there's more collectibles, and I love collecting things. So it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I'm just going to not say it and go, Brooklyn, what is your next game nomination?
All right. We're gonna go back to the non-Nintendo route. We're gonna see how it goes. We gotta try and get an MMO or RPG on here, and what is the pinnacle franchise of that? That is World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, very lore heavy, a lot of replay throughout the different games. I mean, there's obviously a massive community for it. Very difficult series. One that is very tricky to master, but once you get into it, it's smooth sailing throughout. And there's so much to go through, and there's so much expansion packs and sequels throughout it. And I think that's one that needs to be recognized.
Yeah, this is one that I'm going to say yes to be like. I've never quite played the World of Warcraft ones, but for me, I've actually just combined it into just Warcraft because I've played the original 3 games. Because, like, even though yes, they're kind of different in a sense, I still think they're similar enough that they can be one franchise all the same as well. But I mean, I'm saying yes to Warcraft anyway. But yeah, Chris, what would you have said about Warcraft?
I like the South Park episode. I've never played Warcraft. I would just I'm gonna just say no from sheer ignorance. It's good up. It's like Dungeons and Dragons. I don't really play that stuff. But you know what? More power to you. It's on the list. Bada bing, bada boom. But
Yeah.
I would say no just out of ignorance.
Anyway, it's back to me. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to try it. But one of my, I'm going to try and get a superhero game on this list. And one of my favorite ones that has come out, this would have been back early 2000s, but it's getting a resurgence this year on the Switch. It's Marvel Ultimate Alliance. This is but this is a fun game that I really enjoy playing. Like it's got all the Marvel a lot of the Marvel characters just coming together. You can play as, and they're resurging it this year on Nintendo Switch for some reason. It's only going to be Switch exclusive. I don't quite know why, but it is what it is. But by that laugh, I don't think it's getting on. But Chris, what do you say about Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
No, I mean that's a cute game. I actually played it. I played that somewhat. It's just I don't know if this is in the upper echelon of the greatest franchises ever made. It's a great game though. It's fun. It's really fun. Um, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I like the game. I really like the game. You know what? Just to have fodder for the list at the end, I'm gonna say yes. Brooklyn's fate says it all, though.
Brooklyn, what would you have said about Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Nope. There are like about 5 better comic book video game franchises over at Ultimate Alliance. One in particular, I'm very surprised that you have not mentioned.
Yeah. I might regret that decision, but I wanted to give Malcolm also something on the list too.
I mean, I'm curious to see where Brooklyn's going for the comic book one he's referring to. But anyway, Chris, what's your next nomination?
I'm actually gonna steal it from him because I have that next on my list, and it's the only non Nintendo thing on mine, and it's Arkham, the Batman Arkham series. I knew exactly what he was going for. You have Arkham Asylum and you have Arkham City, which I think it's subjective, but it's objectively the greatest comic book video game ever made. Arkham City. It's just the storytelling, the changes they made to the villains are phenomenal, and it's what I wish this was kind of. These were movies, kind of. They felt like they could have been so good as like an animated movie. The universe is so rich and in detailed, and the amount of storytelling in the Arkham series is phenomenal. You have to play the Arkham series to kind of get what we're going at, but each game is phenomenal. Yes, Origins has its flaws, but it's still really, really fun. It's just because Origins came out after Arkham City, and how can you improve upon a masterpiece at that scale? So Arkham City is my nomination. Batman Arkham, the series is, yeah.
I can't believe I forgot to write it down on my list. I don't know why I just didn't write it down. It's a yes for me. That's all I have to say. Brooklyn, what do you say about Batman?
I mean, this is the one that I was hinting to. This is great for Batman fans because you get to explore so much into the Rogues Gallery, and it doesn't just focus on the Joker. It's this series, and more specifically Arkham Asylum alone, which makes Scarecrow my favorite villain out of the entire franchise because of the way that he's able to torment Batman and manipulate him. It's just crazy.
We need to do a rank them on Batman villains at some point.
I might throw that on as an option closer to the Joker movie. But yeah,
that's a good call.
But yeah, anyway, Brooklyn, it's your turn to nominate. I almost forgot the order there.
All right, well, I'm surprised this hasn't been brought up yet, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go with the Mario 3D platformers. This consists of this week consists of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, the best of the bunch, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Super Mario Odyssey. All incredible, pinnacle, pioneer games of their respective consoles. And each progressing with different mechanical gameplay on its own. Galaxy really going with that sort of visual route and that sort of explorative way of going with the different planets and whatnot and using the gravity feature. Odyssey caught me off guard because when I watched the trailer, I'm like, this game could be awful with the hack throwing and whatnot in the different worlds. But it really caught me by surprise.
It was Sunshine on steroids.
Yeah, and Sunshine is great to begin with anyway. So yeah, we'll say with the the Mario 3D games.
Chris, what do you say about Mario 3D?
I'm going to echo everything that Brooklyn just said, and I also want to echo the fact that Super Mario Sunshine isn't just one of the greatest Mario games ever made. It's the greatest game ever made. Mario Sunshine is what every collectathon needs to kind of, in my opinion, strive to be. Yes, there wasn't a great payoff at the end, and people always say that, oh, you only get a postcard at the end. Yeah, but the gameplay, the amount of collectibles you had, the amount of missions you had that affected each and every story going into that level, like it was a narrative. If you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. There's a narrative that goes through each and every single world after one after the other. It's not like Mario 64 where you can just get any star you want, which is also a phenomenal game. But the Mario 3D platformers are in the same vein as Donkey Kong or in the same vein as Banjo-Kazooie are some of the best kind of platforming fun that you can have. I would also like to put in that bag also Super Mario 3D World for the 3DS, which is basically a 3D platformer, except it's in literal 3D. And the remake Super Mario 64 DS is one of the best remakes ever made, because you can. Do you not like it? Is it because of the controls?
No, it's not the controls. It's the characters that don't make sense for me, and like the certain power ups that they had. Like I think it was
Wario, Luigi, and Yoshi.
Yeah, but and each one of them had their own certain powers. Like if you grabbed like a flower, it's like I didn't get into that.
Okay, I dug it. Yeah, but I always felt that it was kind of weird to have Wario on that mission with them when he's kind of a bad guy. But I guess he just wanted the cake. But look, I feel like though that the entire franchise, even if you think it does have a clunk or two, is phenomenal. I actually think the weakest of the bunch are the Galaxy games, not because of it's just the gameplay. It's too linear. If you play a level, it's very, very linear.
Yeah.
And I was never a fan of that. I like the more open world kind of aspects Sunshine, Odyssey, and 64 have. But yeah,
I think Galaxy has the best story of all of them.
Of course, yes. And has the best music of all of them.
Yes.
The thing is, there's the full freaking orchestra. But at the same time, the gameplay, I think, is better in the other games. But I mean, that's hearsay, no say, because it's still a phenomenal game. Yeah, so both Galaxy 1 and 2. So yeah.
But anyway, it's back to me. Just because I'm not so sure if it's going to get back to me, I'm going to try for a game, the other game that I was tossing up between before, and I'm going to go for Assassin's Creed. I mean, if you're a history buff like I am, like just being able to play a game set in ancient Greece or ancient Egypt or Rome or Italy or France or London during specific time periods, it's really fun to see, to be able to climb up Notre Dame Cathedral, to be able to do things that you wouldn't be able to do in real life. Like, I'm pretty sure you'd be arrested if you tried climbing up the Eiffel Tower just without using any rope or the hit. But the gameplay is just really fun. Like, the story, like especially with the Ezio games set in Italy and all that, the story of Ezio Auditore going through that is pretty good. Like the stories in some of the other ones aren't the greatest, but they're still really fun to be able to play and be able to meet like people like Socrates, Leonardo da Vinci as well, like people who you can't meet in real life, and just going through seeing all the stuff in history just play out in front of you. But yeah, Chris, what do you say about Assassin's Creed?
I've never played Assassin's Creed. It's not my kind of game. Again, it's not my kind of game, so it would just be a no out of ignorance, not because I think it's bad or anything. It's just a no from me, just because it doesn't. We only have a handful of slots left. I would say no.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Brooklyn.
The gameplay of Assassin's Creed is incredible. I find it very flowy, and like just the parkour aspects of it is what I enjoy and what I go back to. Unfortunately, though, I find this one is like in the Call of Duty realm, where they just release a game every year, and it's essentially the same thing, but it's just like, oh, we're gonna do like the same story and gameplay, but we're gonna do it from like Egypt, or we're gonna do it from old time America, we're gonna do it from like I don't know, like old England or some old England or Victorian area. And I think there are 3 other franchises that need to get on here before Assassin's Creed, so I am going to say that.
But anyway, Chris, it's back to you.
I'm trying to think, because originally I was gonna because I don't know if we should probably save this for a future rankum or make it just a franchise in general. I'll find out what you guys think as I'm going to bring it up because there's just so many games that's under this umbrella and so many games I love that's under this umbrella. But it's the Star Wars games. I don't know how. Let me just see which series would. I'm just gonna say. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say. Okay, the Star Wars series of games. Like, if you think of any sort of video game franchise that's kind of based on a property of a movie, some of them are hit and miss. Most of the Star Wars franchise games that you played, even though most of them are not canon anymore due to the Disney buyout, you have Knights of the Old Republic, you have Bounty Hunter, you have the Star Wars Pod Racer game on the N64 that I grew up with. You have the Super Star Wars series on the NES, which Super NES, which basically reignited the franchise to kind of into the public consciousness again before the special editions came out. I just feel like Star Wars is such an encompassing brand that it's kind of video game franchise kind of speaks for itself at the quality of the games for that kind of thing. I'm going to nominate Star Wars, even though I feel like this might be a little bit broader than I feel like it sounds. So I'm going to say Star Wars, but this might be a list in and among itself.
Yeah, this is what I like. This is a difficult one for me because, well, yes, the Star Wars games are pretty good, but there's so much different games and so much different style of gameplay that I'm going to say no because, like if you had said maybe Knights of the Old Republic as a franchise in its own right, I probably would have said yes, but with it being like Battlefront is the first person shooter, you've got Pod Race, which is a racing. So I'm gonna say no, just because it's too all over the place. But I might do Star Wars games as a list, rank them on its own at some stage because I think there is enough. But
Yeah.
Brooklyn, knowing what you know about Star Wars, what do you say?
Force Unleashed is a great game. That being said, though, we are keeping this list pure. Star Wars does not need to be on every single list. It's just everything Star Wars. Like the counters back to 0 days without talking about Star Wars. Star Wars does not to be in everything. Let us have our nice video game list with only 1 or 2 licensed properties, but not Star Wars. God forbid we're not putting Star Wars on the best video game franchises list, you monkeys.
But anyway, Brooklyn, it's back to you.
All right, so this is going to be my oddball pick of the bunch, and I will not be surprised if I'm told to go fuck myself. We're going to go with Guitar Hero. You think about before Guitar Hero was released, Dance Dance Revolution was the only rhythm-based game, and it was really around for the arcades. It never really had a home sense. Guitar Hero, in its early stages, did something that was incredibly impossible, and it made a one-player game into a party game where everybody's like, "Oh, take turns, and we're gonna play all these great songs." And the way that it evolved through Guitar Hero World Tour, Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, Guitar Hero 5 was also another great one. And when they added in the vocals and the bass and the drums, similar to what Rock Band did, a company that was also they are both under the same company of Harmonix. But I think Guitar Hero needs to be on there because it essentially brought in the rhythm-based genre of video games to the home consoles and made a buttload of money.
Yeah. Guess what, Brooklyn? Guitar Hero's on my list. Guess what? I'm saying yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed this, and another oddball one which I may bring up next. I haven't quite decided what I'm bringing up next, but when it comes to party games, this is just a really fun game. It's one that everyone you can get into and play, and you're all trying to outdo each other's. Like, I can do better on this side than you can. It's like, well, let's see it. So, Chris, what did you have said about Guitar Hero?
I love the music in Guitar Hero. I'm a huge classic rock fan. I could never play it though, and I felt like after like one or two songs, it gets really boring and dull. So I mean, it's good for a party for maybe like a couple like for maybe like an hour or so, but it's not like Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers where you can kind of make a night out of it. I don't feel like Guitar Hero has that kind of quality for it to be in the upper echelon of franchises. Although it's a great, fun game for short bursts, it's in the realm of like the mobile games that you play. I don't really, I would say no, even though it's fun. So no.
I disagree with you, but I understand your opinion.
Yeah.
But is it on here anyway? Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
Right. There's one spot left, which is going to make things really difficult because there's about 3 franchises that haven't been brought up that I think should get there. I'm going to try for one that's been around for a while. I'm going to try and go for Grand Theft Auto. This is one that has always been fun to play. It's one that you don't play around kids because you don't want them swearing and all that. But like, this is just one that I've always enjoyed playing from back in the day when there was just the stupid 2D version, and when they upgraded it to sort of a 3D, more story-driven kind of game, which made it more fun, in my opinion. But this is one that I love. This is one that I think should make it. But we'll find out what everyone else thinks. Chris, what do you say about GTA?
My favorite GTA game is Simpsons Hit and Run.
Mine too.
Yeah, but Simpsons does not deserve a spot on this list because I don't feel like all their games are quality like that one was. But you know what? GTA is basically the franchise version of Hit and Run, and I love watching Let's Plays of GTA games. It's just really fun and funny to see what people kind of decide to do in the sandbox kind of genre. And on top of that, it created the sandbox genre. It created that entire subgenre of gaming, and for it to not be on this list would be a crime, even objectively. So yes, GTA is an easy yes.
Brooklyn, what would you say about GTA?
So be like 10 minutes ago, I was an automatic yes, but then I forgot about a series on the list that I was going to add. So it was literally a tear between GTA and Mega Man, because I think Mega Man is like probably like the 13th one that we would add on here. But yeah, I'd probably say yes.
So GTA kind of closed out that list. Oh wait, no, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even bring up Mario 2D games.
No.
You know why though? Because the Mario 2D games, they were magic back in the 80s, but when they kept re-releasing Super Mario Brothers U, Super Mario Brothers New, they kept just recycling the same palette and the same style over and over and over again, which is like, oh, lots of gold now. This is a new game. No, it's not. It's a cash grab. So I'm kind of glad that didn't make it on the list. And we kind of differentiated it like it should have been.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm looking at the chat. We've got a few interesting suggestions that have been brought up. Stardrew's been hammering home Mortal Kombat at us.
Mortal Kombat was in my honorable mentions.
Jonathan Peck's brought up Just Dance. Matt Movie 611 brought up Castlevania.
Who the fuck is that guy?
It's Matt Kurds. It's Kurds.
I don't know who that is. You know, the only franchise that I are we going to do honorable mentions? I forget if you do that or not.
Oh yeah, we're going to do honorable mentions. There's Metal Gear in there. There's Call of Duty, like Final Fantasy, which was one of the ones I was tossing up between to bring up, but it's like two. But yeah, there's a few interesting ones that have been brought up in the chat. Chris, what are some mentions that you had?
I only have one, and I felt like bringing it up would have just been like a third kind of multiplayer experience to kind of. They might have overcrowded the list for franchises, but I mean, another really good multiplayer experience, a franchise that has lasted almost 2 decades, is Mario Party. Like you have Mario Party 1, 2, Mario Party 3 is my favorite of the bunch. We've had tons of fun with those games on Family Game Night. I felt like bringing up Mario Party might have made it a little too lopsided with Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Being on the list, but I think of all these games listed, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but we don't have Mario Party, and that is where I begin to regret my decision of saying yes. And I think Brooklyn might agree with me a little bit.
Brooklyn, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
So the honorable mentions that I had here. So I had Mega Man. I had Mortal Kombat. I also had Need for Speed, Sim City, and of the sports games, because you can really make arguments for like either for like the three big ones. But I said FIFA. FIFA's been I've never really got into it myself, but man, those games are like internationally one of the biggest games ever for a sport that I don't find super interesting.
Is Evan holding you hostage and forcing you to talk about FIFA there, Brooklyn?
No, this is voluntary. Yeah, it's voluntary.
But anyway, some of my mentions I had is I had Age of Empires. I had Angry Birds. I had Buzz, the 3's game that was brought out. I had Carmen Sandiego on there. I had The Sims. I had WWE SmackDown vs. Raw. I had Fallout, Final Fantasy, God of War. I had SingStar, which was probably my oddball pick I was considering bringing up. I had Lemmings. I had Leisure Suit Larry, which is kind of a game I'm embarrassed to admit liking, but it's just I can't help it. I had Saints Row. I had Worms, and I had Elder Scrolls as well. Which, but yeah, but
All of those, and you nominated Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
it's one of those games I like. I do really like a lot.
I mean, I can't even say anything. I said yes to it. So I wish Mario.
I mean, honestly, I didn't expect anyone to say yes to it. I just wanted to talk about it. But anyway, we get to the fun part where we get to vote on what we think should be in the spots.
All right, we're going from 12 to 1, right?
Yep. Chris, what do you have for 12?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Brooklyn.
Oh, what a shocker! Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, this is probably going to shock a lot of people, but out of the ones that we had, I actually do agree. It's Ultimate Alliance. Like, it's one I considered putting some that I've just never seen before, but like knowing this panel is like it's going to be a waste of time just putting the ones trying to vote for the ones I've never seen low in.
Be true to yourself, Malcolm. Because even if you got outvoted, it still would have been gone anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But anyway, Chris, what do you have for 11?
Guitar Hero.
Brooklyn, what do you have for 11?
I have the Lego franchise.
And we've got a three-way tie because I put Mario 3D.
What? Okay, let's see what the chat says. Mario 3D games.
I will change to Guitar Hero to save Mario 3D Land. I will change to Guitar Hero.
Oh my! Oh, Brooklyn. What do you prefer, Guitar Hero or Lego games?
I prefer Guitar Hero games.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with Lego. Okay, because I don't have an emotional attachment to Lego, and I like rock music. Okay, so Lego is gone.
And like that, Brooklyn and Chris are colluding just to save Mario.
Well, yeah,
obviously.
But yeah, I'm not changing my vote. So, Chris,
right.
what do you have
Mine's now Guitar Hero.
I mean, it's Guitar Hero now. Malcolm, you don't even have to hold up your thing if you're not going to change up your vote for the next couple numbers.
All right, Chris. We'll sort out this list here.
All right.
But
Next
yeah.
one.
Yep. Number
now
9.
It's getting a little hard, like really hard.
That's
What she said. But anyway, Chris, what do you have for 9?
I said GTA.
Brooklyn.
I actually have Donkey Kong.
But yeah, I haven't changed. So chat, GTA, Donkey Kong, or Mario 3D.
This should be interesting.
The cool guy says Mario 3D game should leave. Okay, this is not right.
No.
This isn't right.
No.
GTA?
Who invited the cool guy here? No.
It says GTA.
Well, Stardrew has now.
Oh, there we go.
And what I did last time is because GTA and Mario 3D were voted on. Brooklyn, Mario 3D, or GTA, because you're Donkey Kong.
We are picking between a Montreal smoked meat sandwich and a peanut butter and pickle sandwich. That is GTA. We are going with GTA as the number 9 slot.
You cannot compare GTA to Mario 3D games. I am sorry.
But
Even though a peanut butter and pickle sandwich doesn't sound that bad.
It's an acquired taste.
And my pen lost its ink. You're going to be first anyway, right, Malcolm?
Yep.
Okay, then it doesn't matter.
Yes. So what do you want for 8, Chris?
Warcraft.
What do you have for 8?
Me? I'm staying with Donkey Kong.
Yeah, what I'll do, because I've still got Mario 3D, is instead of sort of going to the chat, because my vote is just simply because I've never played Mario, so I can't compare it. Which is going to be Donkey Kong anyway, because I've never played that either. But yeah.
So, okay. I mean, if it's Donkey Kong, it's not going. I feel like, Malcolm, if you know that we're both going to save Mario to last, you probably should figure out something else to put down. Yeah.
Well, yeah, probably, but I'm always stubborn like this, so.
But it is. I mean, we get the list.
But yeah, should I change? And what do I change to? Is the other thing. Just to recap what we've got left, we've got Super Smash Brothers, we've got Mario Kart, we've got Zelda, we've got Pokemon, we've got Warcraft, we've got Batman Arkham, we've got Mario 3D. Chris, what do you want for 7?
I mean, I'm sticking with Warcraft.
Brooklyn, what do you have for?
Yeah, Warcraft.
And yeah,
Mario still hits great.
well, I mean, it was that, and I was still considering whether I was going to change it, but I thought, well, I'll see what you guys.
I mean, now you should just stick with it. I want to see which one of us votes for Mario first.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, we're voting for number 6 now. And Chris, what do you have for 6?
Zelda.
And Brooklyn.
Arkham.
And I've still got Mario 3D.
It's Bohemian Rhapsody all over again. You're dying on that bridge. You don't need to die on that.
Well,
Okay, so you know what? What did you say, Brooklyn?
I said the Arkham games.
I can take Arkham out for Zelda. Yeah, Arkham.
And I believe somewhere out there, Robert Parker is crying in a corner because he
I
loves
feel
the
bad for Robin.
Where are the other drugs going? Where are they?
But anyway, we're voting for number 5. Chris, what do you want for 5?
I'm gonna say Zelda, even though this is now picking like warts. I mean, picking like delicious candies. That's what I meant.
For more delicious candies. Brooklyn, what do you have for 5?
I mean, this speaks to the quality of games. I'm actually going with Mario 3D World.
All right, Mario 3D died.
It's top 5.
I'm changing Mario Kart.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say.
I will change to Mario Kart. I will change to Mario Kart.
Wait. I'm gonna say this. Mario Kart for me deserves to be 5 more than 3D World because of Sunshine alone. So Mario Kart.
Yeah, I'll change to Mario. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I can't believe that was the one time. Okay.
Well, but they're probably going to save it for number 1, so it's probably no problem. But anyway.
The one turn. The one time. Okay.
Chris, what do you want for 4?
I still have Zelda.
Brooklyn.
I'm going to stick with Mario 3D.
And this time, I actually did go with Mario 3D. Now we're going. Now we've got the tough bum because we've got Zelda, Pokemon,
these last ones were hard to begin with, and Smash Bros.
And Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I have to
and which is even more harder for me because only one of those 3 I've actually played. But Chris, what do you have for 3?
Zelda. I mean, again, I love Zelda, but these other 2 franchises are ridiculously quality too.
And Brooklyn.
I actually went Pokemon.
I went Zelda.
All right. I mean, that's not
that makes number 1 pretty easy.
Because I mean, like for me, there's like it's the case of which one do I want to play the most, and I want to play Smash Brothers more than I want to play Zelda. But yeah,
number 1's now between Pokemon and Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
that's harder than it sounds. Actually,
that's what she said.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you want for number 1?
Anal. I'm not anal. Wait. No, why I said that.
It has been 2 minutes since my last impure thought.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, you do you. You do you. Whatever floats your boat.
This is number 2 and number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1's Pokemon.
Yeah. Brooklyn, what do you have for number 1?
Super Smash Brothers.
I mean, if we had a T-shirt store, what do you want for number 1? Anal should be a T-shirt. But what I've got for number 1 is Pokemon.
Okay.
Well, technically, it's Super Smash Brothers because I said anal, and then he agreed with me. So, technically,
Anal is the greatest video game franchise.
Super Smash Brothers because it's anal. I forget it, but yeah, that was the joke. But yeah, I can't believe we're live. I forgot about that.
Yes, now the little yellow icon in the hangout section means that we're live.
I mean, I'm sure our viewers missed the classic Chris Clark isms. But
Whoops.
anyway, this is was a fun list. And I next week's topic will be once I actually get to the group to find out what the poll is looking. And our topic for next week is going to be top 12 superhero themes. These are the themes you like, the classic John Williams score for Superman and stuff like that. That's what I meant by themes. But yeah, that's probably going to be a fun list and probably going to be a very argumentative list.
I swear to God, if Guardians of the Galaxy is number one, I'm gonna flip. Because they're like, oh my God, it's nostalgia. It's all these great songs.
Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy don't have a standard theme like a score that there's really
but Malcolm, their theme is nostalgia. Their theme is nostalgia, man.
Well, would supervillain themes count too, or is it just heroes?
I just put superhero themes. So yeah.
Sound good.
But anyway, this is a fun list. Chris, where can people find you online?
You can find me Twitter, Instagram, ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. And every Saturday and Sunday, Sunday for YouTube, Saturday on the Schmodown Podcast Network. The Schmodown Rundown I produce, and I also produce the Schmodown Classic feed where we put up the old seasons once a month. Season 2 is out right now, so be sure to check that out and subscribe to both feeds. Bada bing, bada boom.
And I just realized what I forgot to do is recap what the top 12 list is. So I'll do that now. Fuck it, we're live. But anyway, at number 12 is Marvel Ultimate Alliance. At number 11, we've got the Lego games. At 10, we've got Guitar Hero. At 9, we've got Grand Theft Auto. At 8, we've got Donkey Kong 64. At 7, we've got Warcraft. At 6, we've got Batman Arkham. At 5, we've got Mario Kart. At 4, we've got Mario 3D. At 3, we've got Zelda. And at number 2, we've got Super Smash Brothers. And at number 1, we've got Anal. No, we've got Pokemon.
But Anal be number 2. I feel like Anal should be number 2.
But Brooklyn, where can people find you online?
Instagram and Twitter at TheRealBK10, the number, not the word. Right here at Take the Productions, running Jukebox Trivia. Next week is going to be an epic rap battles of history Iron Man match as part of our Iron Man series. And late out Take 3 whenever I have time. And on multiplex, just general in the fan trivia communities. And you can find me usually everywhere, doing something, hosting, competing. I don't know, making sandwiches.
You're an octopus.
Yep.
And you can find me on Take 3 Productions every Sunday night hosting Wankum, and next week is top 12 superhero themes, as I mentioned before. And you can also find me on Full Metal Trivia, hosting Full Metal Random every week, and this week is an office match which has already been recorded between Lucas Jim Green and Nat Vu, and it's a very great match and really interesting to see what happens because it is fun. You can also find me competing all over the place, whether it's Multiplex, Full Metal, Jukebox. You can also find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Malcor. And until next week, keep listing shit.